Sir, you are on mute.
So, sorry, let us restart. Welcome in new lecture of Math F113. Last time we have covered standard normal distribution. Today we will study the application of the normal distribution for dealing discrete distribution. So let us start. So it is the main use of the normal distribution. With this you can determine the approximate probability for the discrete random variable. Now audio is okay. So
Yes,
here,
yes.
so when we are approximating, we have to take care about the few things. So that things we will discuss. So let us start with the binomial distribution. So as you know, binomial distribution has the two parameter n and p, where n is the number of Bernoulli trial and p is the probability of the success in each trial. So for this, for the binomial, ex is what? Np, and variance of x is what? Variance of x binomial variate is the npq. So here now we have to approximate this. So for understanding the concept, let us take n is equal to 20 and p is equal to zero point 0.6. So when n is equal to 20 and p is equal to zero point 0.6, so mu or ex will be the n into p. So that is the 12, and variance will be the 20 into zero point 0.6 into zero point 0.4 npq. So its positive square root will give you the standard deviation. So its standard deviation will be the 2.19. So here, if you will see, so this is the shape of the binomial distribution. So if you join the middle point, if you join the middle point of this, or instead of the joining, if you take, if here we have taken the x follow the binomial distribution with parameter n is equal to 20 and p is equal to zero point 0.6. For this we have the value mu is equal to 12 and sigma is equal to 2.19. So now you define the new variable y, which follow the normal distribution, with mu is equal to 12. Whatever the mu above we have computed for the binomial, mu is equal to 12 and sigma is equal to 2.19. So if you draw the curve of the normal variate with mu is equal to 12 and sigma is equal to 2.9. So you can observe from the figure, that more or less, right, both are coinciding. So whatever the area covered by the boxes from the binomial distribution, thus more or less the same area covered by the line uh, drawn for the normal variate. So here you can say normal curve with mu and sigma has been superimposed on the probability histogram of the binomial distribution. So although the probability histogram is bit skewed, little bit it is skewed, because here p is not equal to zero point 0.5. So we have the little skewed. Otherwise, for the normal distribution, we have studied that it is symmetric about the mean. But here you can observe it is not exactly the symmetric, right? Little bit it is the skewed because p is not equal to zero point 0.5. So normal curve gives very good approximation, especially in the middle part of the picture. So here you can see, especially in the middle part of the picture, we have the exact overlapping, exact superimposed. So area of any rectangular probability of any particular x value, except those in the extreme tail, can be accurately approximate by the corresponding normal curve. Means if you avoid this thing, this side area or tail area from both sides, right, in the middle part, in the intermediate part, you can approximate in good manner through the normal distribution, because both are covering more or less same area. So for the current example, if you have to compute the value of the probability x is equal to 10, means from the table, if you will see the value of the 10 for n is equal to 20 and p is equal to 0.6. So its value will come, the 0.117. It means it is what? It is the f10 minus f of 9. f10 minus f of 9. So its value will come the 0.117. The same thing if you compute from the binomial distribution, so you will find that its value will come the 0.1212. So you can see these two value are more or less same. So in this way we can approximate the binomial distribution, right? Binomial distribution through the normal approximation, right? So how we are writing this, that I will tell you, right? How we are getting this, I will tell you later on. But here you can observe only the both values, whether you are computing from the normal distribution or from the binomial distribution, you are getting more or less same probability. So that is the approximation.
Sir,
So here, yes,
sir, where there was given that p is equal to 0.5. So do you mean the by percentile addition of
not
probability till
percentile,
that?
p is equal to not percentile, it is the
A
probability
simple
of the success
probability.
in each trial.
Then how
For
0.5 considers physics? Why does it matter?
the, where it is 0.5.
You said that since it is not zero point 0.5, it is not an accurate
No,
graph.
no, actually uh, for the point p is equal to 0.5, we have the exact graph for the binomial distribution and for the normal also. But when p is not zero point 0.5, so when p is not zero point 0.5, then on one side we have the little bigger graph and on the other side we have the smaller graph. So here it is not symmetric like this, that that they want
I
to
didn't
convey here.
understand that. Can
i'm
you say
I'm
speak a
getting
little
that
slow?
the probability, if the probability of each trial is not zero point 0.5, then the shape of the binomial curve will be like this. Binomial curve like this means on one side we have the more curve, and on the other side we have only the less curve. Means it is the skewed one. It is the skewed one. It is not symmetric like this. It is not symmetric like this. It is the skewed one. Skewed one. On one side, right? On one side we have the lesser area. On the other side we have the more area.
Sir, what is the
Yes.
small p? What does that
What is?
denote? What
What
does
it
small p denote?
Well, it denotes that probability of occurrence of any success, probability of occurrence of the success in any trial is not symmetric. Means either we have the bias one,
Okay, sir. Okay.
either we have the less probability or we have the greater probability. Clear? If it is the lesser side, zero side, then we have the less probability of getting the success. If it is towards the one, then it has the high probability for the success.
Yes, sir.
It is not symmetric, means not a 0.5 that it shows. So now here, so in this slide I have told you how we can approximate, that I have to explain. So in this case, what exactly you are doing? You are doing means let's we have this graph. So here we have the x is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this. So if we have this point, 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 right? Discrete points. In case of the binomial, it is a discrete. Now, what is the normal? Normal is the continuous. So how I can make the discrete point as a as a continuous line? For that, I have what I have to do? I have to extend half on this side, 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 half on this side. half on this side, 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 half on this side. So if you extend half on both sides, so you are extending the means you are expanding the discrete points as a line by adding and subtracting the 0.5 on both sides. So that makes the approximation, because we want this point, but now we are computing the area for this continuous line, right? We are computing the area for this line. So that is the half unit correction. So for approximating the binomial distribution through the normal, we have to approximate, right? We have to approximate by adding the half unit correction, by adding the half unit correction. So here we means when we say x follow the binomial distribution with parameter n comma p, and for this we have the ex is equal to np is equal to mu and variance of x is equal to npq, it is equal to sigma square. So we can approximate with the y normal distribution with parameter mu and sigma square with half unit correction, that you have to take care always. So what is the half unit correction? So here, so honestly, previous means in whenever we haven't the computer or calculator, at that time we have the requirement of the this kind of the approximation. Now we have the very good software. For any large value you can determine the exact value. There is no need for the approximation. Earlier we want the approximation, but nowadays there is no requirement of the approximation. So this approximation is valid when p less than equal to 0.5 and np greater than 5, that is n greater than equal to 10. Then we can do the approximation. Otherwise we should compute the exact value. Approximation will give you a bigger error. When p is greater than 0.5 and n into n1 minus p greater than 5, or n greater than 10, then we do the approximation. So means this is the condition for applying the approximation. Now what is the meaning of the half unit correction? So half unit correction, for example, if you have to compute the probability of x between the a to b. So here we have the point, 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 here we have the point. Let's say this point. So on this side we have the a, on this side we have the b, right? So what we have to do means when we make the continuity, we have to add the plus 0.5 and subtract the 0.5, right? So that you can make the continuous line. So on this side you are subtracting the 0.5, on this side you are adding the 0.5. So here on the left side we are subtracting the 0.5, on the right side we are subtracting the 0.5. Now it becomes the continuous. Similarly, if you have to compute the x less than equal to b, means on the right hand side. So on the right hand side you have to add the half unit correction. So on the left side it is a discrete, on the right hand side it will become the continuous. Similarly, if you have to compute the x greater than a, so x greater than a, so in this you have to subtract the half unit correction. So here you have to subtract the half unit correction. Point probability for the discrete is valid. Point probability in case of the continuous is not is equal to 0, but in case of the discrete, point probability may be non-zero. So when we have to compute the point probability, means probability for this point, so what you have to do, you have to subtract the 0.5, you have to add the 0.5. It means you have to integrate from a minus 0.5 to a plus 0.5, because for the continuous you require the interval. For the discrete, point is good, but for the continuous you require the interval. So now we have made the interval from a minus 0.5 to a plus 0.5. So this 0.5 is known as the half unit correction for the continuity. So now you can say right hand side. Now you can say right hand side are the continuous variable, left hand side is the left hand side is the discrete variable. You can understand this more by this example also. Let x be binomial with n is equal to 20 and p is equal to 0.3. Use the normal approximation to each of the following. Compare the result with value obtained from the table. So here it is given to you x follow the binomial distribution with parameter n is equal to 20 and p is equal to 0.3. Right. So in this case, it is given to you x follow the binomial distribution with n is equal to 20 and p is equal to 0.3. So you know that ex is what? Ex is the np. Np is 20 into 0.3, that is a 6. Variance of x is the npq. So 20 into 0.3 into 0.7, that is the 4.2. So that we denote by the mu and sigma square. Now we define the new variable. Always better. There should not be any confusion. X is the discrete variable, y is the continuous variable. So always better you define the new variable, right? So define here, you define the new variable y follow the normal distribution with parameter mu is equal to 6 and sigma square is equal to 4.2. Whatever you have the mu and sigma square here, the same you have to write for the normal variable or normal variate, right? So y follow the normal distribution with parameter mu is equal to 6 and sigma square is equal to 4.2. Now in the first part, what you have to compute? Probability x less than or equal to 3. So what is it is? X means binomial variate. So f3, so if you see the table value for the f3, n is equal to 20, p is equal to 0.3, so you will find the table value as a 0.1070. Now when we say we have to find the value of the probability x less than or equal to 3, so we can approximate. It is not exactly equal, it is the approximate to probability of normal variate. Probability of normal variate less than or equal to point plus half unit correction. Point plus half unit correction. So 3 plus 0.5. So it will be the p y less than or equal to 3.5. Now you know that for the non-standard normal distribution, you can convert into the standard one by subtracting the mu and divide by the sigma. So on the left hand side, y minus mu upon sigma less than or equal to 3.5 minus 6 upon root of the 4.2. So it will give you z less than equal to minus of 1.22. So minus of 1.22, if you see the table value in appendix A3, so its value is the 0.1111. So you can see that more or less they are same. Means here you are approximating the binomial, right? Binomial variate through the normal variate. Then after, in the second part or B part, you have to find the probability of x lie between 3 to 6 inclusive. So here, when we have to compute the probability x lie between 3 to 6, right? 6 and 3 inclusive. So by the theory, we know that it is the f6 minus f2. f6 minus f2, and table value is 0.6080 minus 0.0355. So it will come 0.5725. See, actually I have computed through the calculator, so might be there is the round off error. It means in the table, in the book table, it is the 6081 or 6079, because I have computed through the calculator, so there may be the round off error. So that you please take care. So it is the 0.5725, because I have not see the value from the, I have not seen the value from the table available in book. I have computed through the calculator only. So here now, so this is the exact value. right? This is the exact value of required probability. Now, the same thing if you compute by the approximation. So probability of the probability x lie between 3 to 6. So on the left hand side you subtract the half unit correction, on the right hand side you add the half unit correction. So 3 minus 0.5 less than equal to y less than equal to 6 plus 0.5. Never use the same variable on both sides, right? On one side, because you are approximating the discrete through the continuous, so you have to define the two different variable. One is the x, another one is the y, where x is the discrete and y is the continuous. So it will become probability of y between 2.5 to 6.5. So now you convert the non-standard normal distribution into the standard normal distribution by subtracting the mu and divide by the sigma. So probability of 2.5 minus 6 upon root of 4.2 less than equal to, so it will become the z. Z 6.5 minus 6 upon root of the 4.2. So that is the phi of 0.24 minus phi of 1.71. 1.71. So its value is the 0.551. So here you can see more or less this value. This is the exact value, and this is the approximate value through the right
Sir,
through the yes.
sir, X here signifies what? Number of successes?
X is
What is X? What is capital X?
capital X is the binomial variate with parameter n is equal to n is equal to 20 and p is equal to 0.3.
But then, if then how can we subtract 0.5, which is a probability from it?
Actually, what we are doing here, we have the x is equal to 1, x is equal to 2, x is equal to 3, right? This is the x is equal to 3, x is equal to 4, x is equal to 5, x is equal to 6. So in the first part, what we have to do, we have to compute the probability up to this point, right? Means we have to compute the probability of this point, of this point, of this point. So this is the exact one. What we are doing, we are approximating by adding the half unit correction, right? Means what we are doing, we are subtracting, adding, subtracting, adding, subtracting, adding. So here we are doing the half unit correction, right? So this is the half unit correction when we have to compute the between the 3 to 6. So this is the 3, 4, 5, 6. So here you add the half unit correction, here you add the half unit subtract the half unit correction. It means between this to this you have to integrate by the normal approximation. This we are doing, not from the discrete we are subtracting. We are making the this point as a interval by adding and subtracting the half unit correction. Clear now?
Sir, what was the second condition where we could approximate? When first was when p was less than 0.5.
Second condition is when p greater than 0.5, then n into 1 minus p should greater than 5. In that case also n must be greater than 10. Up to the 10 we have the table, right? For the n is equal to 10 we have the table. Up to the n is equal to 15, up to the n is equal to 20 we have the table. But for the n is equal to 100 we haven't the table in any book. So in that case you require the approximation. Clear?
Okay, sir. Yes.
So here we have the, so I think now from the figure it is clear now. So you can see here we have the more or less same value. Now in the C part, if you have to compute probability x greater than or equal to 4, that is the 1 minus probability x less than or equal to 3. So table value, it is the 0.8929. Now when we have probability x greater than or equal to 4, that can be written as 1 minus probability x less than or equal to 3. Now when we approximate the x by the y, when we approximate the x by the y. So 1 minus probability y less than equal to 3 plus 0.5. Now you have to add the half unit correction. So 1 minus probability y less than equal to 3.5. So you can convert the non-standard normal distribution to the normal distribution. 1 minus probability of z less than equal to 3.5 minus 6 upon root of the 4.2. So it will give you 1 minus 5 of 1.22. So its value is the 0.889. So here we have the exact value, right? Here we have the exact value, and here we have the approximate value, right? Now this one is very good thing, that here in the D part you have to compute the probability of x is equal to 4. So probability of x is equal to 4. So you know that how we can compute the probability of x is equal to 4? It is the f of 4 minus f of 3. So it will come 0.1304. So point probability for the discrete you can compute easily, but point probability for the continuous is the 0. So when we have 1, 2, 3, 4, so at this point we have to compute the probability. So what we will do, we subtract the half unit, we add the half unit, right? And we make it continuous interval. So probability of x is equal to 4 can be approximate by the normal variate y. Here x discrete variable can be approximated by the continuous by adding and subtracting the 0.5. So 4 minus 0.5 and 4 plus 0.5. So y between the 3.5 to 4.5. Now it is the interval. So now make it as a standard normal. So probability of 3.5 minus 6 upon root of the 4.2 less than equal to z less than equal to 4.5 minus 6 upon root of the 4.2. So it will become the phi of 0.73 minus phi of 1.22. So its value will come 0.122. So this is the approximate value for the x is equal to 4, and this is the exact value for the x is equal to 4 from the binomial table. So that is your approximation of the binomial distribution. The same thing you can do for the exponential distribution. So now next is the for the Poisson distribution. So normal approximation to the Poisson distribution. So let x is the Poisson distribution with parameter lambda into s. So you know that for the Poisson distribution, PDF is given by fx is equal to e to power minus lambda s to power x upon factorial x, right? Where x vary from 0, 1 to 3. So now for the large value of the lambda s, x is approximate when we have the large value, right? When we have the large value of this, then you can approximate the Poisson variate. X is what? A Poisson variate, Poisson distribution with parameter lambda s, right? That you can approximate with the normal variate, right? And by the normal variate with parameter mu and sigma square, where what is the mu? Mu for the Poisson distribution is what? Lambda into s. Variance for the Poisson distribution is what? Lambda into s. So in this case, it will become the normal distribution with parameter lambda into s, lambda into s. So otherwise, everything is exactly the same. So here also you can observe when we have the large value of the lambda, right? When we have the large value of the lambda, so you can see it is the skewed one, right? It is the skewed one. Now it is more or less symmetric. Now when we have the large lambda, then it is exactly symmetric, right? So you can approximate the Poisson distribution or Poisson variate with the normal variate for the large parameter value. So again, in this also we have to add and subtract the half unit correction for making the discrete point as a continuous interval. It is the same slide, whatever we have the slide for the binomial distribution, right? So the same thing we have to add and subtract. Now let x be Poisson random variable with parameter lambda s is equal to 15. Means it is given to you x follow the Poisson distribution with parameter lambda s is equal to 15. It means mu is equal to 15 and sigma square is also 15. Find the value of x less than equal to 12 from the table. From the table of the Poisson distribution, right? Means from the appendix A2. Approximate this probability using normal curve. Be sure to employ the half unit correction. Always when we have to convert from the discrete to continuous, always you have to add or subtract the necessary half unit correction. So in this question, it is given to you lambda s is equal to 15 and x follow the Poisson distribution with parameter lambda s is equal to 15. So ex is equal to 15 and variance of x is equal to 15. So this we denote by the mu, this we denote by the sigma square. So when we see the table value, so it is nothing, it is the f of 12. So f of 12 from the appendix A2, its value is the 0.2676. Now here it is the required probability that we are approximating from the that we are approximating by the normal variate. So let y follow the normal distribution with parameter. Somewhere please you write y follow the normal distribution with mu is equal to 15 and variance is equal to 15. By this you are approximating with the same mean, same variance you are approximating. So for the probability x less than equal to 12 can be approximated by probability y less than equal to 12 plus 0.5. Right? It is the 12 plus 0.5. You have to add the half unit correction. So it will become the probability y less than equal to 12.5. So now you convert it into the standard normal distribution. So probability of y minus mu upon sigma less than equal to 12.5 minus 15 upon root of 15. So that will come probability z less than equal to minus 0.64. So table value is what? Means for the normal variate, it is the 0.2611. So this is the approximate value for the x less than equal to 12, and this is your exact value for the for the same probability. So you can observe more or less they are same. Nowadays we have the so advanced calculator software for any large lambda, for the any large value of n and p, you can compute the exact probability. So nowadays there is no such requirement of the approximation, but whenever we have the requirement, then you can use.
So what is the condition for approximation?
Large lambda, that can be the greater than 10. For the 10 up to the 10 we have the table. Now average number of its either arriving at or departing from O'Hare airport is 1 every 40 seconds. In every 40 seconds there is a one flight either of departure or the arrival. What is the approximate probability? Now they themselves have written this thing, that find the approximate probability, because they know that for this required value we haven't the table. So that's why they have already written approximate value. What is the approximate probability that at least 75 such flights will occur during the randomly selected hours? What is the probability that fewer than 100 flights will take place in an hour? So what is given to you? This is the question of the Poisson process. So alpha is given to you as a one flight in every 40 seconds. So what is the rate of flight, whether the arrival or departure? It is the 1 upon 40 per second. So lambda will be the now we have our question in hour. So lambda will be the alpha into s. So 1 upon 40 into hour, 1 upon 40 into hour. So that is the 90 per hour. So on an average we have the 90 flights per hour. So now we can say X follow the Poisson distribution with parameter lambda is equal to 90. So when lambda is equal, parameter is lambda is equal to 90. So for the Poisson variate, we know that it is Ex is equal to lambda is equal to 90, and variance of X is equal to lambda is equal to 90. Means it is what? It is the mu. It is what? It is the sigma square. So if you see from the calculator, so probability of X greater than equal to 75, right? They want at least 75 flight. So X greater than equal to 75, so its value will be the 0.9521. Now when you approximate this by the normal variation, normal variate, so probability Y greater than equal to 75 minus 0.5, so half unit you have to make a correction. So Y greater, probability of Y greater than equal to 74.5. Now you convert the non-standard into the standard one. So so here probability Z greater than equal to 74.5 minus 90 upon root of 90. So it will become probability Z greater than equal to minus 1.63. So here we have the approximate probability 0.9485. So this is the approximate probability. This is your exact probability. Somewhere please you write that Y follow the normal distribution with mu is equal to 90 and variance is equal to 90. With this you are approximating. So always use another variable. In the same, please don't change. In the second part, you have to compute probability that number of flight fewer than the 100. Means probability X less than 100. Probability of X less than 100. It means because it is a discrete, it is equal to probability X less than equal to 99. So when we will see calculator value, its value will be the 0.8471. Now when we approximate, right, by the normal variate, so probability of X less than equal to 99 can be approximated as a probability Y less than equal to 99 plus 0.5. So it will be the probability Y less than equal to 99.5. So now you make it as a standard one. So probability Z less than equal to 99.5 minus mu upon sigma. So 99.5 minus 90 upon root of 90, that is the phi of 1. Phi of 1. So table value will be the 0.8412. So you can see it is the approximate probability and it is the exact probability. So in this way we can approximate the Poisson variate.
Sir, why didn't we do the P of X less than 100 directly in P of X less than 100.5 in normal? Why did we first convert it to X less than equal to 99 and then do
because
plus
this is the
0.5?
last point now. Actually less than 100, with the less than 100 we do not know what is the last point.
So there should be one equality also among the two limits.
Pardon, I am not getting. What is the equality?
My doubt is why we did here X less than equal to 99, that added the 0.5. Why didn't we do 100 plus 0.5 directly?
No, actually 100 plus 0.5 means it is the 99, it is the 100. 100 plus 0.5 means you are including this point.
Oh,
but
okay.
We want the fewer than the 100. We want the fewer than 100. If you add the half unit correction, it means you are including the 100 point. Clear?
Yes.
Now, sometimes if we are not able to determine the exact probability, we require the approximate probability. So for that we have the two important rule, normal probability rule and Chebyshev inequality. So this time Chebyshev inequality is not in course, so only normal probability rule. Means sometimes if you want to say something means about the probability in approximate way, so you can use this. So normal probability rule is applicable only when random variable is normal. If X is the normal, then only you can apply the normal probability rule. but Chebyshev inequality is applicable for any random variable. This time it is not in course, but you can apply for approximating approximating the required probability for any variable, for any distribution, right? But normal probability rule is applicable only for the normal distribution. So what is it? It tell that let X be the normally distributed with parameter mu and sigma square, right? Then if you have to determine the following probability, what it is denoting, that the value of the X lie in the one standard deviation, then its value is the 0.68. In the two standard deviation, its value is the 0.95. In the three standard deviation, its value is the 0.997. Means the observed value of the X, right? Approximately 68% observed value always lie in the one standard deviation. Around 95% value lie, about the 95% value lie always within the two standard deviation, and 99.7 value, 99.7 standard observed value always lie, right? 99.7 observed value always lie within the three standard deviation range. That's why in the Japan we have the Six Sigma technology. Means very rare we have the outlier on this side or on this side. Very rare we have the outlier or we have the error. Otherwise, in normal case, we have the within the limited standard deviation. So how it is coming? So that is the normal probability rule. So the rule will be used later to obtain the quick estimation. Generally, we use this for the quick estimation, quick estimate of the standard deviation of the normally distributed random variable, right? So we are not talking about the Chebyshev. So how we can write this? So normal probability rule. So here it is given to you X follow a mean, X follow the normal distribution with parameter mu and sigma square. So it is what is your requirement? That the observed value X lie within the one standard deviation, means mu minus sigma, mu plus sigma. So when you convert this into the standard one, so you have to subtract the mu and divide by the sigma. So it will become the X minus mu upon sigma. So on the left also it is the X minus sigma minus mu upon sigma, a mu plus sigma minus mu upon sigma. So it will give you probability of Z lie between -1 to 1. So it will be the phi of 1 minus phi of -1. Table value is the 0.8412 minus 0.1586. So it is the 0.6826. So it is saying that when we have any normal distribution, so within the 68% observation, around the 68.2% observation lie within the one standard deviation. That is the directly now you can say for any normal distribution. Whenever we have the normal distribution, directly you can say around the 68% data are within the one standard deviation. Similarly, if your requirement is within the two standard deviation, so by the same step, Z will lie between the -2 to 2. So phi of 2 minus phi of -2. So it is the 0.9772 minus 0.2228. So it will come 0.9544. So you can say around 95% lie, right? It is the mu. So it is the mu minus 2 sigma. It is the mu plus 2 sigma. So around the 95% observed data lie within the two standard deviation. Similarly, for the three standard deviation, it will become the probability of Z between -3 to 3. So phi of 3 minus phi of -3. So it will come the 0.9975. So 9975 means it will give you around 99.7 observed data lie always within the three standard deviation. So you can assume if I have in the Japan, if they are following the Six Sigma technology, so how many we have the error? right, or outliers product or outlier services. So that is the normal probability rule. So this Chebyshev inequality is not presently in course. Actually, this time we are getting the less lecture, so that's why we have not included in the course. So now next is the exponential family or gamma distribution. So here for the gamma distribution, we require the knowledge of the gamma function. Gamma function is nothing, it is the one special function, and its value is what? Gamma of alpha is equal to integral 0 to infinity x to power alpha minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. So the, means in calculus or in the differential equation you will study about this. So this is the special function. So gamma of alpha we define as a integral 0 to infinity e to power x to power alpha minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. So what are the properties of this gamma function? So gamma function, we have the
Can you
following.
show the previous slide?
Pardon?
Can you show the previous slide? The first slide for gamma function.
This one.
Yes, sir.
For the positive alpha, right, we are defining one special function. We denote it by the gamma, right? Gamma for the positive alpha, it is equal to integral 0 to infinity x to power alpha minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. It has some properties, right? So what are the properties that we are discussing here? So gamma function we are defining like this. So gamma of 1, if you say gamma of 1, so means alpha is equal to 1, so integral 0 to infinity x to power 1 minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. So x to power 1 minus 1 means 0, so we have the e to power minus x integral 0 to infinity e to power minus x into dx. So its integration is e to power minus x upon minus 1 limit 0 to infinity, so it will become 1. So now you can say gamma of 1 is equal to 1. One formula you have derived. Then gamma of alpha is what? 0 to infinity x to power alpha minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. That can be integrate by parts. So it is the e to power minus e to power minus x to power alpha minus 1 limit 0 to infinity plus alpha minus 1 derivative of the first function alpha minus 1 integral 0 to infinity, right, x to power alpha minus 1 minus 1 x to power alpha minus 1 minus 1 e to power x into dx. So first integral under both limit is 0, right? First integral under both limit will be the 0, because when we put the x is equal to 0, right, so it will give the 0. At the x is equal to infinity also it is 0. And second can be written as alpha minus 1 into it. What is this? This is the gamma of alpha minus 1, right? If you compare with the standard formula, standard integral, it is what? Gamma of alpha minus 1. So from here we have another important result. Gamma of alpha is equal to alpha minus 1 gamma of alpha minus 1. So this is the another standard result. So here for the infinity, if you apply the L'Hopital rule, so when limit x tends to infinity, for the lower limit you can understand easily why it is 0. For the upper limit, when x tends to infinity, this function can be written as minus of x to power alpha minus 1 upon e to power x. So limit x tends to infinity, if you will apply the L'Hopital rule in the denominator and numerator, so it will become minus alpha minus 1 x to power alpha minus 2 upon e to power x. So when alpha is integer, so naturally after the derivation it will become, means continuously if you derive, it will become in the numerator minus of factorial of alpha minus 1, because alpha is integer, so it will become factorial of alpha minus 1, and in the denominator it will remain x tends to infinity e to power x, e to power x. So 1 upon e to power x, so that will be the 0. Means e to power minus infinity, so it will be the 0. When alpha is not integer, when alpha is not integer, at that time limit x tends to infinity. In the numerator, it will be the minus alpha minus 1, alpha minus 2, this is dot 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 product alpha minus k plus 1 divide by x to power. X to power means you have derived k times x to power alpha minus k e to power x. Means now the alpha minus k lie between 0 and 1. So in that case also this limit will become the 0 only. So under the whether the alpha is integer or non-integer, under this limit this function is 0, right? And for this always 0. So you can say the first part is 0. So we have the gamma of alpha is equal to alpha minus 1, gamma of alpha minus 1. Then after, so this is the another important result. Then after, if the alpha is equal to, if the alpha is integer, then gamma of alpha is nothing, it is the factorial of alpha minus 1. Just now you have seen gamma of alpha can be written as alpha minus 1, gamma of alpha minus 1. Gamma of alpha minus 1 can be written as alpha minus 2, gamma of alpha minus 2. Gamma of alpha minus 2 can be written as, gamma of alpha minus 2 can be written as alpha minus 3, gamma of alpha minus 3, and so on. So continuously when you write, at last you will get alpha minus 1, alpha minus 2, dot 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 3 into 2 into 1, gamma of 1. Last you will get the gamma of 1. And just now we have derived gamma of 1 is what? It is the 1. So it will become alpha minus 1 into alpha minus 2 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is nothing, that is the factorial of alpha minus 1. So when alpha is integer, then gamma of alpha is nothing, it is the factorial of alpha minus 1. Last thing, gamma of the half, gamma of half, so that I in next class I can start directly the gamma distribution. So gamma of half means by definition it will be the 0 to infinity x to power alpha minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. So x to power half minus 1 e to power minus x into dx. So that can be written as integral 0 to infinity x to power minus half e to power minus x into dx. That can be written as integral 0 to infinity e to power minus x upon root of x into dx. If you assume root of x is equal to y, so that can be written as 1 upon 2 root of x dx is equal to dy, that you know. So when we substitute, it will become is equal to 2 into integral 0 to infinity e to power minus y square dy. Because e to power minus y square is nothing, it is the even function. You know that it is the even function. So being a even function, that can be 2 into 0 to infinity can be written as minus infinity to infinity e to power minus y square dy. And in previous class I have told you its value is what? This integral is what? It is the root pi. So now you can say gamma of half is equal to root pi. So this is another important result. So in next class we will start the gamma distribution on Wednesday. Friday is the last class, right? Any doubt? Yes, anything,
Sir,
anybody? Yes.
can you show the formula of gamma of alpha is equals to alpha minus 1 into gamma of alpha minus 1?
Derivation you are asking? Which formula you are saying?
Yes,
This?
sir. Yes, sir. So here we put alpha is equals to 1, so we will get 1 in this formula.
No, in that case it will be the gamma 1 minus alpha is equal to 1, then it is the 1 minus 1 0. Gamma of 0 is not defined, na?
Okay, sir. So
What I have
alpha
told
cannot
you,
be 1.
What I have told you here, when at the time of the definition somewhere I have written this thing, alpha greater than 0, it cannot be the equal to 0. In the definition only I have written alpha greater than 0, positive 0.
Okay.
So here it will become it will not valid, because it will become the 1 minus 1, that is the gamma of 0.
So we have to do it by factorial only.
Not factorial. Actually, it is not defined. It is the infinity. In math 3 you will study this. In the next sem you will study this again, gamma function in detail, right? So there you can understand this. Even for the negative also you can define. There for the negative value also you can define when alpha is negative, but we have the special way to define. By definition it is defined only for the positive alpha, but under some modification we can define for the negative as well as for the 0. Any other doubt?
So you've written a mail saying that we'll have that you suggested a
Please
mail.
speak little louder. Please speak little louder.
Am I audible now, sir?
Little more. Little more, please.
Sir, now?
It's okay.
Sir, you've written a mail saying that we have extra class from 4 to 5 on Wednesday, but we already have an extra class schedule at that same time. Can you please change the timing?
यार एक्चुअली वो हमारा रेगुलर आवर है ना, तुम्हारा किस चीज की क्लास है?
सर वेडनेसडे हॉलीडे है.
नहीं, हॉलीडे तो है, वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन एक्चुअली हमारे अब 2 टॉपिक मेन बचे हैं और 2 ही दिन बचे हैं ना असल में.
Sir, maybe Thursday. Okay, 1 minute. I'll just check the calendar.
एक्चुअली थर्सडे नहीं, मतलब हो सकता है ना वो थोड़ा सा. अरे तुम मेरा रिकॉर्डिंग सुन लेना, ये तो कोई प्रॉब्लम होगी तो फोन से बात कर लेना.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है ना, मेरे से एक बार रिकॉर्डिंग सुन लेना, मैं तुरंत अपलोड कर दूंगा. और आपको यदि कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगी तो पर्सनली मैं गूगल मीट पे आ जाऊंगा, तो आपको मैं समझा दूंगा.
Okay, sir.
ठीक है ना, तुम मुझे एक बार बता देना कि हाँ इस टॉपिक इस जगह पे ये प्रॉब्लम है, नहीं समझ में आया तो मैं बता दूंगा.
Okay, sir.
Any other doubt?